Airplane seats get used a lot.
In a typical cleaning week at Latitude Aero, we go through over 10,000 Q-tips and over 1,000 toothbrushes. They're pretty nasty when they come in. We average 2 to 3 pounds of dirt removed from a seat when it comes in versus when it goes out.
A commercial plane typically flies multiple times a day, thousands of times a year for several years before updating the interior. That's where a company like Latitude Aero comes in.
Most carriers replace or refurbish seats every 5 to 8 years. They rarely get detailed cleanings in that period. What the customer can see does get cleaned, but down in the intricate workings of the seat, they get pretty nasty. Coca-Cola, coffee, food scraps, human hair, DNA as we call it in-house.
Aircraft seats do get a lot of wear and tear. You have people slamming their bags on them, and they're sitting on them, people spill drinks on them, and they're used all day long. They do use heavy-duty material, but the material can rip and it could just get old, and airlines don't want that to be the face of the airline.
Aircraft interiors is a $6.5 billion business. In 2022, the total seat market was $2.9 billion, with new seats at almost $1 billion and retrofitted seats at $1.4 billion.
Now that we're seeing some airlines, especially in North America and Europe, return to profitability, they're starting to spend more on interior retrofits.
We visited a refurbishment company in North Carolina to see what goes into giving airplane seats a second life. Seats are a crucial part of an airline's business. A typical narrow-body jet like a Boeing 737 or an Airbus A320 has as many as 180 seats, and replacing them with brand new seats can be expensive. A more complicated seat with an in-flight entertainment screen, power outlets, and a reclining mechanism is more costly.
Your typical economy class seat is around $5,000 per seat. As you move towards the front of the aircraft, business class suites with the closing doors and everything, that might be $70,000 to $100,000 per seat.
We can do projects in as few as 10 days for less than half the price.
Many airlines choose to refurbish or refresh the seats by stripping down the ones they already have in service or have acquired from another airline or leasing company.
It does depend on the airline. It depends on how much wear and tear. But a big refresh of a cabin is about every 6 to 7 years.
If you have an aircraft platform and that airline knows they're about to retire in less than 10 years, but they just want to refresh the look, then they might just update the seat covers and keep the actual seat the same. So we've seen that in cases like Delta just did a refurbishment on their 767 fleet where they installed a new premium economy cabin, and then for business class up front, they kept these same seats they've had for the last 10 years or so, but just updated the seat covers and make it look a little bit more refreshed.
Most of our business is taking seats that may have flown for another airline and stripping them down, repairing them, and refurbishing them back in the new livery of the new customer, the new airline.
Latitude Aero specializes in commercial aircraft seating, a small company compared to the bigger seat manufacturers like Collins Aerospace and Zodiac Aerospace, but the business has been growing nonetheless.
Since inception in 2015, we have more than doubled revenues and profitability year over year. Over the past 6 months, our business has changed a little. Pre-pandemic, we did volume small orders. Now we're seeing long-term contractual revenue 2 to 3 years out. In fact, we are booked now through April of 2025.
The company has delivered over 82,000 seats from economy to business class for almost every type of aircraft from Boeing and Airbus. This year, it expects to do over 30,000 aircraft seat refurbishments.
Originally, we shipped to airlines in 33 countries, globally out of our one location in Greensboro, North Carolina. We are now dealing with multiple U.S. mainline carriers.
Airlines may choose to refresh seats instead of replacing them to help keep costs down.
When you have very custom interiors like what you might see on Emirates, their first class, which is floor-to-ceiling suite, and there's only maybe 4 seats in the entire first class cabin, then you're well into the 6 figures. It's a lot of engineering that goes into it and certification work, and can take years to develop.
Replacing seats is expensive. It's labor intensive, it's costly, and when an airplane is on the ground, it's not making money for an airline.
So when the airplane's already going to be down for 30 days for a C-check, a maintenance inspection, they will take the interior out and do projects then. It's cost prohibitive for the airlines to take an airplane down just for the sake of changing out the seats. If the airline's in maintenance and it makes sense, the seats have to come out anyway, that's our opportunity, our window. So with the larger the airline, the longer lead time we have, the more planning we have. The smaller the airline, generally they don't have as much back office staff to help with material planning, maintenance planning, so the smaller the airline, the less lead time we get.
Boyette says they can do a project in as little as 10 days, but seats that are more complicated could take upwards of 90.
This is how the Delta seats come into us. They acquired aircraft from a different airline. We bring the seats in, we strip them down to the bare frame, and this is the base of how we start rebuilding the seats. Everything will be removed so we can reuse it on the new seat. We recycle, reuse as much as possible to eliminate landfill waste. The next step will be taking the arms off. The arms are not in the proper color to use in the Delta livery, so they go to a local powder coater to be repainted. And then this is actually a spare seat, so any parts that we can take off of this seat to use on the refurbished seats that are behind you, we can recycle, reuse as many parts as possible. It looks like a simple seat. A lot of people joke around and say seats are easy, it's just fuzzy side up. A component maintenance manual for your average seat is anywhere from 800 to 1,000 pages of detailed instructions on how to clean, take apart, and repair. Lie flat seats in the front have electrical actuators, so the more complex the electrical system in the seat, the more complex it is for us to troubleshoot, repair, and refurbish.
Not all seats are the same and can vary from airline to airline.
The trend with airlines for a long time has been seats without screens that aren't as complicated, and American did that. For the most part, they're taking them out and they've gotten simpler, and now United, for example, wants to retrofit all of its narrow bodies to have screens and Bluetooth and all this modern equipment.
Most airlines are getting away from fabric. Fabric is very hard to clean in the cabin. There's some fantastic synthetic leathers on the market now that do not stain from spilled coffee, sweat in hot markets, humid markets. The biggest trend in the refurbishment industry is adding power to the seats. And now with Europe requiring USB-C only, USB-A going away in Europe, we see a lot of power outlets being pulled and being replaced with USB-C.
When we visited, the company was finishing up seats for a Delta 737 aircraft. The seats come in via 18-wheeler. When they're finished, they're boxed up and delivered back to the airplane. The company has felt the effects of supply chain challenges.
There are times we can't find parts, or the manufacturer of a specific seat part has gone out of business during the pandemic. We have the ability with our in-house machine shop to make parts for the mainline carriers.
Much of the global air fleet was grounded in 2020. Several large airlines are profitable again, but the industry is still recovering from the impacts of the pandemic. And the outlook for the interiors market, including seats, is expected to keep growing over the next several years.
We're waiting for more airlines to make money again before they spend money on interiors, and there's a cyclicality to it as well, depending on when certain fleets were delivered. We're looking towards mid-decade for the interior refurbishment wave based on those fleet demographics and timing.
Boyette says his shop is at capacity and has orders into April of 2025.
One of the largest U.S. carriers has the world's largest refurbishment project in the history of aviation coming up that kicks off in April for over 500 airplanes, and we're thankful enough to be awarded a good portion of that order.
He said demand is so high that his mainline customers are asking the company to expand beyond seats.
Later this year, we are looking at getting into the plastics piece of the interior, the sidewalls, the bins, the PSUs. We're also looking into carpet and lavatories and galleys for 2024 and beyond.